Welcome, dear listener. You found a peaceful place where history whispers through the quiet of the night. As the world winds down, let timeless stories unfold, gently guiding you to rest. Settle in, breathe deeply, and allow the past to soothe your present. This journey begins with calm. In the stillness before sunrise, when the stars slowly retreat behind a veil of golden haze, Rome begins to stir, not loudly, not all at once, but gently like a deep breath rising from the stones of the eternal city. The terracotta rooftops glisten softly, kissed by dew. A single crow calls from the arch of a temple gate, and from the heights of the Palatine Hill to the winding alleys of the Subura, a subtle light filters across the city's marble and mud brick walls. You are a Roman citizen, and this is your world. Beyond your shuttered window, the horizon begins to glow. The mighty Tiber, still cloaked in early mist, carries the city's dreams downstream. In the distance, the dome of the Pantheon catches the very first blush of sunlight. Rome, the caput mundi head of the world, awakens not with noise, but with a slow unfolding. Inside your home, the air is cool. The coals in the brazier have long since dimmed to a faint red glow. The silence is not empty, it is sacred. It holds the weight of gods and generations. A slave steps lightly past your door, tending to morning tasks. Somewhere, a baker is already at his oven, and the sweet, yeasty scent of rising bread drifts faintly on the breeze. The bells of a nearby temple begin to chime in ritual cadence, welcoming the new day with reverence. The city remains cloaked in half-shadow, but Rome is awake now, slowly, gracefully. As you rise from your bedding, simple linen stretched over straw, you feel the stone floors chill underfoot. A new day awaits, filled with routine, duty, and moments of quiet splendor. And so begins your journey, not just through the streets of Rome, but through its soul. Welcome to the daily rhythm of a Roman citizen. His day begins not with urgency, but with a breath. You open your eyes to the hush of early Rome. The walls around you, stone and clay, warm in tone, cold to the touch, glow faintly with the first golden threads of morning. Your room is simple, unadorned, a narrow sleeping space in your domus if you are wealthy, or perhaps a crowded upper chamber in an insula, the city's bustling apartment blocks if you are not. Beneath you, the straw mattress creaks gently as you shift your weight. The scent of dry hay, linen, and faint olive oil lingers. You sit up slowly, letting the silence hold you, still wrapped in sleep's fading veil. Outside, a distant cart rumbles softly down the cobbled street. The clatter of hooves is muffled by the thick city walls. A rooster crows somewhere beyond the forum, and from a neighboring window, you hear the scrape of a jug against stone, the start of another life echoing yours. You swing your feet to the ground, feeling the cool floor beneath you. A rough woolen tunic awaits on the stool beside your bed, carefully folded the night before. Beside it, a leather belt, worn but strong, practical, purposeful. In the corner, a pitcher of water stands ready for your morning wash. There is no glass, no tap, no luxury here, only the ritual of habit handed down through time. You pour the cool water over your hands, letting it wake your senses, preparing you for the day ahead. If you're a man of wealth, perhaps your slave waits nearby, silent, ready to assist. If not, you move alone, methodically. This morning routine is not rushed. It is grounded, rhythmic, almost sacred. You are not yet dressed in your public role. You are not yet a trader, or a senator, or a laborer, or a teacher. For these few moments, you are only a man standing at the edge of the day. Rome waits outside, but not yet. Here, in the dim quiet of this waking hour, the world is yours. And in this pause between sleep and sun, your body and soul rise gently to meet the day. With the body risen and the mind slowly awakened, the next ritual begins, one of water, oil, and care. The Romans did not bathe each morning as we might now, but they understood the dignity of cleanliness, of preparing the body with attention and grace, especially before stepping into the city's gaze. You stand before a simple basin, carved from stone. The water, cool and still, waits patiently. In your hand, a small bronze jug. You pour slowly, washing the night from your hands, your face, the back of your neck. The sensation is brisk, cleansing, elemental. There is no soap in your world. Instead, you reach for a small vessel of olive oil, golden and pure. With practiced motions, you anoint your arms, your chest, your shoulders. The oil softens the skin, soothes the senses. Next comes the stridula curved metal scraper, worn smooth with use. You draw it across your oiled skin, gently but firmly, removing dirt and sweat in long strokes. The rhythm of scraping is ancient meditative. It is not indulgent, it is Roman. If you are among the elite, a slave might perform this ritual for you silently, efficiently. If not, your own hands are enough. You do not rush. The ritual is not merely physical. It is mental preparation, a quiet claiming of the day ahead. You pause, glance into a small mirror of polished bronze. Not for vanitino, Rome discourages vanity, but for awareness. You ensure you are presentable, composed, respectable. You run your fingers through your hair short and neat, in the style of a citizen. If you bear a beard, you trim it with care. If you shave, a servant might stand ready with a straight razor and cloth. You may scent your wrists lightly with myrrh, or rub a touch of citrus leaf behind your ears. Fragrance, when subtle, is a mark of dignity. Around you the house continues to wake. Water trickles in other rooms. Soft footsteps pass the doorway. The aroma of baking bread drifts faintly closer. But here, in this quiet chamber, your grooming continues. Not for beauty, not for show, for discipline, for readiness, for Rome. The mirror does not flatter. It reflects what is true. A citizen shaped by routine, defined by order, committed to something greater than self. You are almost ready now. And outside, the eternal city calls. With the rituals of cleansing complete, your body feels renewed, but it is your clothing that completes the transformation. In Rome, to dress is to declare. The clothes you wear tell the world who you are, your status, your values, even your citizenship. On a simple wooden stool, a fresh tunic awaits. Woven from undyed wool or fine linen, depending on your means, it is cool to the touch and clean from the hands of your household servant or from your own labor, if fortune does not smile so widely. You pull it over your head. The fabric falls to your knees, cinched at the waist with a plain leather belt. Already, you begin to feel your place in the world take shape around you. But it is the toga that defines the Roman citizen. A vast, elegant drape of wool off white, heavy and symbolicit, is not worn for comfort. It is worn for dignity. Its folds require practice, patience, and sometimes the help of another. It wraps over your shoulder, across your chest, and down in sweeping lines. The toga virilis, the toga of manhood, marks you as a freeborn Roman male. To wear it is both a privilege and a responsibility. If you are of higher standing, perhaps a senator or magistrate, your toga bears a deep purple stripe, wide and unmistakable, the latus clavis, a signal of rank that needs no words. For women, the garments differ, yet hold equal meaning. A stola, flowing and elegant, covers a simple underdress. Over the shoulders, a pala cloak may be drawn, its folds modest, its movement graceful. Even fabric becomes language. A fibula pin fastens your cloak at the shoulder. Sandals open and strapped hair laced up around the ankles, thick-soled for the stones of the forum. For laborers, shoes may be coarser, more worn, but all are prepared to walk the paths of Rome. You check your appearance in the bronze mirror once more, not out of vanity but for order. Everything in Rome has its place, even the fold of a toga, even the clasp of a brooch. And so, dressed not only in fabric but in identity, you are ready. You are no longer just a man or a woman within walls of clay and marble. You are a citizen, you carry Rome upon your shoulders, and through every step you take, the Republic walks with you, with garments arranged, chin lifted, and sandals secure, you take the first step toward the world beyond your door. Before you greet the streets of Rome, you greet something older, something unseen, something divine. Every Roman, home whether modest or grand, holds a sacred space. A lararium in a small alcove, perhaps built into the wall of your atrium, you keep the spirits of your house, the lares and penates, the guardians of your family, your hearth, your daily bread. Their figurines are humble, small terracotta statues, carefully shaped by hand. Perhaps your father placed them here, perhaps his father did before him. You kneel, your movements slow and deliberate. This is not a ceremony of spectacle. It is a quiet ritual of remembrance, a conversation between worlds. In one hand, you hold a morsel of bread. In the other, a pinch of salt. A few drops of wine, cradled in a clay cup, swirl gently as you bow your head. You speak not loudly, not even with words always, but with thought, with memory, with intention. You thank the gods of your home for another day. You ask their protection over your tasks, your steps, your family. A servant kneels beside you, lighting a small oil lamp. The flame wavers, dances, then steadies. Smoke from a pinch of incense curls into the air. It carries your hopes upward through the beam of morning light that slices across the shrine. You do not linger, but neither do you rush. These few moments, though quiet, shape the rhythm of your life. They remind you that you belong to a house, to a lineage, to something greater. Around the city, countless others do the same, kneeling before their own household altars, whispering their own offerings into the sacred stillness. Rome is built of stone, law, and steel, but it is also built of these quiet gestures, these daily reverences, these moments of meaning passed hand to hand, generation to generation. You rise slowly. The flame flickers one last time, then steadies again. The gods have heard you, and now it is time for bread. The air is still cool. The sun now touches the top edges of your roof, and your body, freshly washed and dressed, turns to the first nourishment of the day. In Rome, breakfast is not grand, it is not long, nor filled with extravagance. It is a moment brief and purposeful, called entaculum. In the dim morning light, you sit at a low wooden table, alone or beside family. The kitchen is quiet. You hear the faint crackle of firewood, the creak of clay pitchers being lifted, the light clink of a ceramic bowl. Before you, a simple spread, a piece of coarse bread, warm from the hearth. Its crust still bears the faint pattern of the baker's stamp. You tear it gently with your fingers. A few black olives, glossy and salted, a wedge of goat cheese, soft and slightly tart, a handful of sweet dates, their skins wrinkled like dried honey. You sip from a cup of wine diluted with water, as is the Roman way. Strong drink at sunrise is frowned upon. Moderation is a virtue, even here. You eat with quiet gratitude. The food is not rich, it is not varied, but it is enough. It carries with it the labor of fields, the craft of hands, and the rhythm of your ancestors. In the homes of wealth, slaves may serve the table, attending silently to every need. In humbler quarters, a parent or child might share the loaf, passing bowls from hand to hand. Children chatter softly nearby. A dog stretches lazily in the corner. Somewhere down the street, a vendor calls out the day's produce, and the city begins to thrum. But inside your kitchen, there is stillness, peace. You tear the last piece of bread and lift your cup once more, honoring the land, the household, and the day that begins. The Roman way is not built upon indulgence, but upon order. Even here, at this modest meal, discipline whispers beneath each bite. The table is cleared, the cup is set aside, a cloak is gathered from a peg by the door. And with the taste of bread and olives still lingering on your tongue, you rise ready to step out into the living, breathing streets of Rome. You step beyond your doorway and enter the pulse of Rome. The transition from home to street is not merely a change of place. It is a crossing from the quiet of the domestic to the ever-moving breath of the city. The stones beneath your sandals are ancient, already worn smooth by generations of footsteps. The air carries the mingled scent of fresh bread, sun-warmed stone, and the faint metallic whisper of morning dew evaporating from bronze. All around you, Rome awakens. On the upper floors of the insulae, shutters creak open. Children lean out, calling greetings. A woman pours water into a clay basin. Below, in the narrow shade of buildings, shopkeepers arrange wares garlands of garlic, bolts of dyed wool, jars of fish sauce. A baker sweeps his threshold with practiced strokes. His oven glows like the heart of the block, releasing a comforting perfume of flour and fire. You pass by slowly, drawn to the smell of his loaves, still steaming from the oven's mouth. A donkey cart rattles over the stones, wooden wheels creaking under the weight of amphora terracotta jars filled with oil, wine, or grain. The driver hums softly, guiding the beast with a lazy flick of the reins. A group of young men cluster near a fountain, laughing over a game of knucklebones. Their laughter echoes against the stone. A few women in stolas cross the street gracefully, lifting their hems to avoid a fresh puddle from a spilled water jug. The voices are varied, Latin and Greek, gruff and lyrical. Rome is a chorus of dialects, a symphony of purpose. Everyone moves with intent, even if unhurried. Overhead, laundry dances on lines strung from window to window, catching the morning breeze like the sails of anchored ships. And beyond it all, the roofs of temples and basilicas shimmer in the rising sun. You adjust your cloak and continue forward. You are not lost in the crowd, you are part of it, a thread in the vast tapestry of the capital. And as you walk, each step places you deeper within the rhythm of Rome, where even the streets are alive, ancient, and eternal. You follow the cobbled path into the open square of the Macellum Rome's marketplace. It is not grand like the Forum, nor hushed like the temples, but here the soul of the city speaks in barter and aroma. Canopies of woven cloth stretch between wooden poles, shading rows of stalls from the warming sun. Beneath them, the world comes alive with color, scent, and sound. A merchant gestures toward a pile of green olives glistening in brine. Another lifts a cluster of ripe figs, their skins bursting with sweetness. You pass by amphorae sealed with wax, their contents scrawled in red ink, oleum, vinum, garum. The scent of garum-fermented fish sauce mingles with that of warm honey cakes and newly slaughtered meat. It is pungent, it is Roman. A butcher, bare-armed and focused, displays cuts of lamb on a marble slab. He sharpens his blade with a hiss of steel. Nearby, a fishmonger pours seawater over his catch-gleaming silver scales, still wet from the coast, shimmer in the sun. You hear haggling. It is expected. A game of words, nods, and narrowed eyes. You ask for a small wheel of cheese aged in a cave beneath Ladium and offer a fair coin. The vendor smiles but counters. You both know the dance. You agree on the middle ground. A boy scurries by with a woven basket balancing eggs, bread, and herbs. His mother calls after him, adjusting a shawl. A baker rolls past with a handcart of flour. In the shade, an old man sells scrolls, recipes, prayers, perhaps a love poem. You pause to sip a cup of watered wine from a roadside stand, cold clay against your lips. Around you, Rome continues its rhythm. This is the hum beneath the grandeur, the heartbeat of daily life. Here, a senator may rub shoulders with a potter, a slave may speak softly to a priest. Everyone needs bread, oil, and salt. With your basket full cheese wrapped in fig leaves, a loaf of crusty bread, fresh herbs, you turn away from the stalls. The weight in your arms is modest, but the ritual is rich. You have participated in something older than empire, older than Caesar, the act of nourishment, the act of exchange. The market fades behind you. The scent of rosemary lingers in your fingers. And as you walk, the clatter of the Macellum blends into the song of the city once more. Beyond the market and above the common hum of daily life lies the beating heart of Romitha Forum Romanum. This is no ordinary square. It is where voices echo louder than mere words. It is where the city's breath takes form in marble, decree, and ambition. As you enter the forum, light reflects off polished columns and glints from golden statuary. Statues of consuls, generals, and gods stand in quiet conversation. The paving stones beneath your feet, once smoothed by generations, lead you into history still unfolding. The air smells of incense, dust, and freshly inked parchment. You pass the rostra, the speaker's platform, where orators raise their voices to the crowds. One man stands tall, his arms wide, his toga perfectly folded, speaking not only with logic but with rhythm, gesture, and fire. His words shape opinion. His tone stirs the crowd. A case is being made, a future decided. Nearby, magistrates consult under the portico. Scrolls are unfurled, seals inspected. A scribe dips his stylus into ink, the wax tablet filling with notes that may become edicts or vanish in the wind. A client approaches his patron, hand extended, face deferential. They speak in low tones. A favor is asked. A name is promised. This is how Rome moves, not only by vote or law, but by the quiet currency of honor. Beneath the towering Basilica Julia, shaded benches fill with citizens discussing grain prices, land disputes, and the latest from the provinces. Messengers arrive from distant cities, scrolls sealed with wax, bearing the words of governors and soldiers from far-off lands. Yet among all this, amid the noise and robes and stone, there is a strange peace, a harmony. You are not a stranger here. Whether senator or simple trader, you stand beneath the same sky, warmed by the same sun. Rome is both vast and personal. You pause at the temple of Saturn, placing a hand on the cool marble of a column. You feel the weight of history. Decisions made here ripple across empires. And yet this is also the place where neighbors meet, where gossip flows like spring water, where lives intersect in the shadow of eternity. As you move on, the murmur of voices fades behind you. The forum remains, as it always has, watchful, enduring, alive. You carry its pulse with you now, beating quietly beneath your tunic, steady as Rome itself. Beyond the marble halls and political courts, Rome hums with hands at work. Not every citizen speaks from a podium. Not every life is dressed in fine linen. Some live in the texture of wood, the ring of hammer on bronze, the grain of clay beneath their fingers. You pass down a quieter street now, where the scent of sawdust drifts from open doorways and the rasp of tools sings a steady rhythm. Inside one such room, a workshop breathes with quiet purpose. A craftsman stoic, Focusa leans over a plank of olive wood. In his calloused hands, a chisel moves with practiced ease. Chips curl away like flower petals. He does not glance up. His mind lives in the curve he shapes, the balance he seeks. This stool, this table, this wheelage carries his mark. Around him the room tells a story of labor. Shelves lined with baskets, clay lamps still drying, iron hinges half forged beside a small hearth. Every item speaks of use, of function, of quiet beauty shaped from earth and flame. An apprentice, young and eager, sweeps the floor with care. His eyes dart from tool to master, absorbing more from silence than from words. He dreams of someday shaping more than he carries. You nod to them as you pass the threshold. A small sign above the door bears the name of the family written in black ink. Their business, passed from father to son, serves Rome just as surely as its laws or armies. And indeed, without these hands, these trades, there is no city, no domus, no street, no shrine. The craftsman does not seek glory. He seeks balance, a straight line, a strong joint, a smooth edge. His pride is not loud, but it is deep. Outside, you continue on, your path softened by the scent of fresh leather, the ring of iron against anvil, and the chatter of merchants exchanging goods for coin. Rome is a city built not only by emperors, but by men with calluses. And in every finished table, every carved figurine, every hinge and hook and handle, there is a whisper of the human soul, steady, simple, and eternal. While the streets of Rome fill with merchants and magistrates, another rhythm stirs within the domusless scene, but no less vital. Here, behind stuccoed walls and shaded colonnades, a Roman Matrona tends to a household with measured grace. She does not wear armor. Her weapons are order, wisdom, and resolve. Draped in a stola, fastened at the shoulders with elegant pins, she walks with quiet command. Her eyes miss nothing: the state of the storeroom, the temper of the slaves, the learning of her children. The house is her realm. Its smooth running is her honor. In the atrium, light slants through high windows, warming the tiled floor. The woman sits at her loom fingers, guiding thread over thread, a pattern emerging slowly. The cloth she weaves may become a tunic for her son or a gift to the gods. Each pass of the shuttle is a prayer for continuity. Around her, the house breathes with purpose. A servant grinds grain on a stone quern, the steady rhythm echoing through the halls. Another draws water from the cistern. A third prepares the midday meal, selecting herbs with care from a clay jar. A child sits cross-legged near her feet, repeating lines from a wax tablet. His voice wavers with youth. She corrects him gently, her tone soft but firm. Education is no luxury, it is duty. A son must learn the weight of words before he can carry the weight of Rome. Occasionally, she pauses in her weaving to consult the accounts, a scroll unrolled, a tally made. The household budget is not merely coin-sit, is bread, oil, wool, and time, and it is hers to balance. She may send a slave to the market with a list, or prepare herself to visit the temples with an offering. She may counsel her daughter on modesty, her husband on diplomacy, or a servant on loyalty before the sun reaches its peak. Her voice does not rise, her rule is quiet, but it is felt. The Roman matron is not hidden from history. She stands just behind it, shaping its edge like a potter's wheel, spinning strength from silence. As the house settles into its morning rhythm, she returns to her loom. One hand guides the thread, the other steadies the home. In every household that flourishes, a Roman woman's care endures, gentle, firm, and eternal. After the business of the morning is complete, after errands are run, scrolls read, duties observed, your path leads to one of the most sacred places in Roman daily life, the baths. Thermae, the Roman public baths are not just for cleansing, they are for resetting the body, calming the mind, and reconnecting with others. You pass beneath a grand stone arch, where steam curls into the air like incense. The scent of warm water, olive oil, and polished marble fills your lungs. Your sandals echo softly against the tile as you enter the antechamber. A slave greets you with a towel, and you disrobe quietly, placing your garments in a basket, watched by an attendant. You feel no shame. Here, all are equal beneath steam and stone. You begin in the apoditorium, the changing room. The air is cool. Gentle conversation hums through the chamber, traders discussing grain prices, philosophers quoting Cicero, old friends murmuring about last night's races. Next, the tepidarium welcomes you. Warm air wraps around you like a gentle shawl. The floor is heated from below by the hypocaustome's ingenious system of underfloor heat. You recline on a marble bench. A slave rubs oil into your shoulders. The tension from the morning begins to melt. Then the caldarium, hot and thick with mist. You lower yourself slowly into the steaming water. Your muscles sigh. The room glows orange from fire-heated bronze. You listen to water dripping from the dome, to laughter behind veils of steam, to the beating of your heart slowing like the breath of Rome itself. A slave approaches with a strigil and gently scrapes away the mixture of sweat, dirt, and oil. It is not painful, it is purifying. You feel reborn. Afterward, you cool your body in the frigidarium. The cold basin shocks your senses, sharpens your thoughts, renews your skin. Your breath rises in clouds. In the final chamber, you recline once more. Conversation returns. Fruit is passed, wine is poured. You share small news, hear a poem, listen to a traveler's tale from Gaul. This is not idleness, this is community, this is ritual. Rome may conquer empires, But here, within these walls, it cultivates peace. You leave refreshed, clean in body and mind. Draping your tunic once more, you step back into the sunlight. Behind you, steam coils above the dome. Around you, the city breathes anew. And within you, a calm takes root, as ancient and enduring as the marble from which these walls were carved. After the warmth of the baths comes the comfort of the table. The Roman prandium, or midday meal, is a pause, not a feast, but a gentle interlude, a moment to refresh the body, to share quiet words, to taste the earth's offerings before the duties of afternoon resume. You enter your peristylic quiet, shaded courtyard framed by columns and green vines. The sun slants gently through the open roof, warming the terracotta tiles in the marble basin of the central fountain. A low wooden table awaits, set without ceremony. This is not the grand scenery of the evening. There are no elaborate courses, no silver platters, just food honest, simple, sustaining. A plate of boiled eggs rests near a bowl of salted olives. Slices of cold pork, seasoned with herbs, lie beside crusty bread torn from a shared loaf. A cluster of sweet, sun-dried figs offers a final touch of softness. Watered wine fills your cup, just enough to relax the senses. You eat slowly. There is no rush. Rome's clock ticks not in minutes, but in customs. This time is yours. Across the table, your spouse may join you, or a close friend, or you may dine alone, your thoughts your only companion. Each bite connects you to the land grain from the fields of Latium, figs from Campania, olives from across the sea. A servant may refill your cup. Another brings a damp cloth for your hands. Even in modest homes, care is taken. Meals are not transactions, they are traditions. You listen to the sound of water trickling from the fountain. The distant murmur of street vendors carries in from the road. A neighbor's laughter drifts from beyond the wall. You breathe in the moment. This prandium is more than nourishment, it is restoration, a ritual as important as law or language. And when the final fig is eaten, when the cup is emptied, you lean back and close your eyes for just a breath longer. You rise, not full, but fulfilled. Outside, Rome waits. The world turns once more, and you're replenished, grounded step forward, ready to meet it again. As the sun begins its slow descent toward the western hills, Rome too shifts in tone. The bustle of morning markets and politics gives way to something quieter, something deeper. For many, the afternoon is a time for thought, for reading, for learning, for leisure steeped in meaning. You enter your study, the tablinum, nestled between the atrium and the garden beyond. It is modest in size, but rich in purpose. Scrolls line the wall side with colored ribbons, each one a doorway into philosophy, law, or poetry. Some are well worn, softened at the edges. Others are crisp, awaiting first discovery. You sit at your writing table, the wood is smooth from years of use. An oil lamp flickers beside you, its gentle flame dances across your notes, illuminating the careful marks your stylus makes on the wax tablet. You may copy a letter to a friend, or draft a verse in honor of a god, or study the works of Cicero, Seneca, or Virgil, voices that still echo in these stone halls. From the courtyard you hear the voice of your son reciting a louder line of epic poetry, his cadence growing steadier with each repetition. His tutor, robed and composed, listens patiently, correcting softly, encouraging with a nod. If you are a philosopher, this hour may bring a student to your garden bench, ready to discuss the nature of virtue or the illusion of fear. If you are a jurist, you may review a case, drafting arguments that might sway a magistrate tomorrow. And if your hands are weary from ink and study, you may step into the peristyle, where sunlight filters through the vines and the air carries the scent of rosemary and lemon balm. Leisure, for a Roman, is not idleness. It is cultivation of the mind, the soul, and the senses. You may play a game of La Trunculi, a Roman board game of strategy, or listen to a guest recite a new poem, or lie back and let the silence stretch like a scroll unfurling across the afternoon sky. These hours are soft, unhurried, meant not to escape life, but to deepen it. And as shadows begin to lengthen across the floor, you close the last scroll, blow out the lamp, and let the wisdom of the ancients settle quietly into your thoughts. The city outside may roar with chariots and debate, but here there is only the song of water and the rustle of leaves. You step into your hortus, your gardenia quiet paradise encircled by stone and silence. It lies at the heart of your home, framed by columns that reach to the sky like slender trees of marble. Afternoon light pours gently over terracotta tiles and flickers through the climbing vines. The air smells of lavender, basil, and damp earth. A breeze stirs the branches, soft as a whisper. This is not just a garden, it is a retreat, a place where the soul may exhale. You walk slowly, no destination, no deadline, just movement, just breath. Around you, nature has been shaped with intention, not wild but not rigid. Paths wind past sculpted shrubs, beds of flowering thyme, and citrus trees heavy with fruit. Bees drone from blossom to blossom, carrying sweetness from one petal to the next. In the center, a fountain sings its water tumbling gently into a carved stone basin. You pause beside it, letting the sound soothe your thoughts like a lullaby for the mind. A small bench waits beneath a pergola. You sit. A servant brings a cool cloth, perhaps a cup of honeyed water. You thank him with a glance, and he disappears as quietly as he came. Here, surrounded by green, your thoughts drift like the clouds above. You think of old stories, of gods who once walked among trees, of friends lost to time, of hopes planted like seeds, still waiting to bloom. A lizard darts across a sun-warmed tile. A bird splashes in the fountain. The world continues, softly, gently. Some might compose poetry in this hour, others speak philosophy, but you simply listen to nature, to memory, to stillness. For in the heart of Rome, where marble and might define the city's face, the garden remains its quiet soul. And in the space between leaf and breeze, petal and path, water and stone, you find something rare, even in the greatest empire on earth: peace. As the sun arcs lower in the Roman sky, casting long shadows across the stones, the people of the city turn not inward, but upward. For above all else, Rome is a city of gods, gods of hearth and harvest, gods of war and wisdom, gods of rivers, stars, and doors. They dwell not only in temples, but in every threshold, every breeze, every victory and misfortune. This hour quiet, Goldinus, a time for offering, for honoring the unseen. You walk slowly toward a temple. Its columns reach skyward like the arms of a supplicant. Steps of smooth marble rise before you, worn soft by 1,000 pilgrim feet. The air is heavy with the scent of burning laurel and sacred resin. Somewhere a bell rings once. Others gather with human and women, rich and poor. Each carries something small: a crust of bread, a folded garland, a flask of wine, a whispered prayer. At the altar, priests in white robes chant in low tones, their cadence as old as the stones beneath your feet. A boy sprinkles salt over the flames. A girl scatters rose petals into the fire. The smoke rises gentle, fragrant, rising toward the heavens like the breath of the city itself. You place your offering upon the altar, a handful of grain, a few drops of wine, a soft-spoken wish for protection, for health, for peace. If it is a festival day, a garlanded ox may be led to the priests. The animal is washed, adorned, and treated with solemn care. A horn is played. A hush falls. The gods must be honored, not merely remembered. In this space there is no debate, no politics, no division. Here, all are Roman, all kneel before the same eternal powers. You watch the fire, mesmerized. The flames shift and dance, curling around the incense, pulling your thoughts upward toward Jupiter on his lofty throne, toward Vesta in her sacred flame, toward Mars, watching from the hills. When the smoke has faded and the prayers have been said, you leave as quietly as you came, but something lingers, a stillness, a sense that you have touched something ancient and infinite, a reminder that beneath every stone in Rome, a god once walked and may still walk again. The shadows grow longer, lamps are lit, the air cools and softens. Evening descends not with silence but with invitation. It is time for cena. This is no mere meal. It is the heartbeat of Roman hospitality, the culmination of a day lived in service, in thought, in labor. Now the body rests, the spirit unwinds, and conversation blooms. You enter the triclinium, the dining room, where three reclining couches frame a low, polished table. Cushions await you. Fragrant garlands hang from the lintels, incense curls from bronze holders. You recline gently, on your left elbow, the Roman custom, with your right hand free to eat and gesture. A servant offers water for your hands warm, perfumed down towels woven with saffron threads. Then the procession begins. First come the gustaccio appetizers, eggs sprinkled with herbs, mushrooms and vinegar, honey-sweetened olives. Dishes are passed, and voices grow more lively. You sip from a cup of wine, diluted with water and spiced with cloves or cinnamon. It is cool and smooth. A slave refills your cup without a word. The prima mensae main course follows. A whole roasted chicken, its skin crisp with herbs, lentils and onions, slow cooked in earthenware pots, fish draped in garum, the salty sauce of the sea. Fresh bread still warm from the oven crumbles beneath your fingers. Music drifts through the open window. A girl plays the lyre, her fingers delicate and sure. Her melody winds through the room like a breeze through a garden. You speak with your neighbor of politics, of poetry, of philosophy. You listen more than you speak. That is the Roman way. Wit is savored here like good wine. Then comes the secunda mensae sweet course. Dried figs, honey cake shaped like coins, almonds roasted with salt, perhaps a piece of soft cheese drizzled with honey. Laughter rises and fades. The lamps glow brighter now. Outside, the night deepens, but within these walls, the world slows, softens, warms. No one counts the hours here. The meal is not measured by courses, but by the fullness of the spirit. And when you rise, your mind is nourished, your belly is satisfied, and your heart is full. The scene ends, but its memory lingers, sweet and golden, like the last taste of honey on the tongue. Rome is an empire of marble and might, but beneath the grandeur flows a more subtle current Patronus and clients. After the dinner dishes are cleared, and as the oil lamps cast long golden shadows across the colonnades, the world of patronage awakens once more. You return to your atrium, where the floor's black and white mosaics shimmer under flame. The house is hushed, but not still. Visitors have come, clients, friends, petitioner Saul, waiting to speak, to ask, to offer their loyalty in exchange for your favor. You are a patroness, a man of standing. Your duty is not only to the state, but to the individuals who depend upon your name. And in return, they offer respect, service, support votes, if they are citizens' presence, if you seek office. Tonight, the air is heavy with small matters. A man needs an introduction to a magistrate. A boy hopes for a place in the law school. A veteran seeks intervention in a land dispute. You listen carefully. You weigh. You decide. It is not coin that flows between you but influence. You offer a scroll of introduction, a name spoken at the right moment, a nod that opens a door otherwise closed. This is not charity. This is Fides faith, reciprocity, the foundation of Roman social order, and sometimes you too become a client to someone higher still. Even the greatest senators bend their knees in private, whispering favors in marble halls. This is Rome. Your guests speak respectfully. Some bring small gifts, a jar of olives, a roll of parchment, a story from the provinces. A slave offers them wine or bread, nothing lavish, but always with dignity. When the last request is heard and the final scroll is sealed, the room grows quiet once more. Your clients bow slightly, then slip back into the night, returning to their homes in the city's darker corners, their hearts lit with hope and gratitude. You lean back into your carved wooden chair, the weight of your household and network quietly humming in the stillness. In Rome, power does not only reside in swords and senates. Sometimes it lives in promises, in hands clasped beneath flickering torchlight, in unspoken understandings passed from one generation to the next. Politics is personal. The sun has slipped behind the hills, the lamps are lit, and Rome, a mighty, noisy, noble Rome settles into her softer self. Night has fallen. The roar of the forum, the clatter of carts, the cries of vendors, all fade into memory. In their place comes the whisper of sandals on stone, the hush of fountains, the occasional creak of wooden shutters being drawn. You step outside, wrapped in a light cloak, the cool air brushing your cheek. The moon rises above the rooftop silver and solemn. Its glow touches the temple domes, turns marble pale, and casts long shadows along the narrow streets. A few neighbors murmur greetings in passing. Most are heading home. A couple lingers by a fountain. A priest walks alone, his white robe fluttering behind him. Far away, a lyre's lonely tune drifts from a window. The shops are shuttered now, their stalls empty. The scent of charred wood and last-minute cooking wafts from the insulae above. A few children laugh in the distance, then fall silent, drawn in by their mother's soft calls. A night watchman strolls by with a torch and staff. He nods as he passes. He watches over the sleeping city, guarding its peace with quiet vigilance. Somewhere, a dog barks once, then nothing. Above you, the stars emerge one by one, sprinkled across the Roman sky, like forgotten coins tossed by gods. Jupiter, Venus, Mars, their names are written here, as they are in your prayers. You pause at a corner shrine. A small oil lamp still flickers before a figure of Mercury. You whisper a silent thanks for the day, for your family, for the promise of tomorrow. Rome is vast by day, but at night it becomes personal, intimate, human. The stones cool, the rooftops glisten with dew, and in this moment, under the weightless hush of the heavens, you feel your place in it all, a citizen, a dreamer, a thread in an eternal tapestry. It is time to return home, to rest, but not just yet, for Rome, at night, invites you to listen, not with ears, but with the heart. The lamps burn low, the household grows still. Beyond your walls, the city quiets to a breath, and within your chamber, night spreads its calming veil. It is time to sleep. Your day, like Rome itself, has been full of rhythm, of duty, of nourishment and thought, of fire and reflection. But now, in this last hour, you return to something simpler, to silence, to stillness, to the soft pull of dreams. The room is cool, the walls whisper with the fading warmth of day. The mattress beneath you filled, familiar welcomes your weight. You draw a woolen blanket over your body, folding it around you like the toga of the night. In the corner, the lararium glows with a final flicker of flame. The household guards your laris and penates keep silent vigil. You kneel for a moment, offering a final prayer, not grand, not formal, just a breath, a wish, a thank you. Somewhere a child turns in their sleep. A slave finishes folding linen in the dark. The house breathes in unison like a great sleeping animal, protected and whole. Outside, the moon casts silver shapes across the floor. The stars spin slowly overhead, as they always have, as they always will. And in this moment, this hush, you let go. Your thoughts drift through marble corridors, across warm gardens, past fountains and temples and sunlit scrolls. You drift not into nothingness, but into a realm where gods whisper and ancestors walk beside you. For Romans believe that dreams are messages, that Morpheus, the god of sleep, molds visions like clay, that in dreams the soul can journey and return wiser. You surrender to him now, willingly, peacefully. The flame fades, the world dissolves into softness. And Rome, eternal, ancient, beautiful Rome, watches over you as you sleep,